African, I'm a mother, and I'm raising a new breed of leaders for the African future.
This is the
A.R.A.L show. And the A.R.A.L show means Afri Moms Raising African Leaders. I am Zoe Octavia Obaze. And here is...
I am Chisom Ukachukwu, but you can call me Somi.
Okay, so there's a problem. We have been told that Africa is the giant and indeed a continent that should be admired. But there's a problem that has been echoed, and that's the problem of leadership. Should we keep crying over spilled milk?
Definitely
Should we
not.
keep complaining about our leadership? Here are young mothers whose children are right now very small. And we have said to ourselves, Chisom and I, and of course a number of other African young women, we have said to ourselves that enough of crying, enough of complaining about the leadership that has gone wrong.
It's time to take action.
And what exact action are we planning to take?
By raising the next breed of African leaders that would shape the future of Africa.
By the year 2050, I think a child that is 5-year-old will be how old by then?
That should be 55.
Okay. So the question is, if my focus, if our target is that child who right now is 5, and how to raise that child so that in the year 2050 would have a difference, is that not something worth doing?
Certainly, of course. If the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So right now we have the opportunity to shape the foundation for the future of Africa.
Somebody might ask, what is Africa?
Okay, so that's like the normal thing is Africa is a continent, right? So, but beyond being a continent, we should also realize that African is an identity that will follow us for the rest of our lives, that will follow our children for the rest of their lives. No matter where they find themselves on the face of the earth, they will always be identified as Africans.
Thank you very much, Chisom. According to the United Nations, there are 54 countries in Africa, and they are divided into 5 regions. There's the North Africa, there's the Central or Middle Africa, there is Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, and West Africa. And right now, we are in Nigeria, which is part of course,
Africa.
West Africa.
Yeah.
Somebody might say, how are you sure that you can solve a problem so big, so giant, so magnanimous as an African problem? I will say to you, do not forget that by starting small, you can solve such a huge problem.
Yes, like they say, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Mm-hmm. One step in the right direction is much better than bemoaning our fate as Africans. So we'll rather attempt to solve the problem and try to see how much we as a people can do that. And of course, we're welcoming you on this journey with us. It is beyond Zoe and Chisom. It is an African call. It is a call for every African out there.
Interestingly, we have a mutual friend. Her name is Elizabeth. And recently she welcomed a child. Yeah. So we're saying, for instance, Elizabeth is the future of Africa. How so? By raising her child that whom she just gave birth to deliberately, she's setting herself up for a change, setting that child up for a change. Right now we're in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos State, and in fact more particularly here in Festac, where Digits 1024 online radio is situated. And we are saying that as mothers, as young women who are bringing forth children, if we are going to deliberately raise our children in the silence of our homes, teaching our child, for instance, not to be covetous. You know, we say that some of our leaders are covetous, grabbing onto things that really shouldn't be theirs. But think about if Elizabeth teaches her tiny baby how to be content with what he has. Yeah. If you teach your son, by the way, you don't want to know how many...
Don't mind that. She's also a mother, as in she's raising soldiers like me. So
she's raising soldiers as well. So it's interesting that, in fact, we're raising sons, and we're saying that from the secrecy of our homes, if we are deliberate to raise our children with such virtues as what? Contentment.
Yeah.
What other virtues?
Well, virtues as integrity.
Exactly.
You know, integrity is like the bedrock of all characters. Because when you have integrity, of course, contentment is embedded in integrity. So many other values, rather, are embedded in integrity. So I think if we raise children who have integrity, who are able to say the truth no matter the consequences, we are able to raise the new breed of leaders that will change the course of African leadership. You know, recently I was at an event, African SME Sommie assembly.
Okay.
And one of the speakers made a comment. He said, for so long we've been hearing Africa is rising, Africa is rising. When are we going to transition into Africa has risen? We're tired of rising.
True.
We want to be identified from a developing country to a developed country.
Continent.
We're tired of
Exactly.
being identified as a developing country for so long.
Yes.
Meanwhile, this will be a good time to say that you should subscribe to our channel, Digit 1024 Radio, for more of such wonderful content like this. Of course, we'll be bringing it your way every now and then, so you wouldn't want to miss out. So do subscribe and, of course, turn on the notification button. And you will do well to also follow us across all social media platforms at Digit 1024 Radio. So over to you, Zoe.
Thank you so very much. I must add, if the content you're out for is clean, if what you're looking for is pure, if what you're looking for is interesting, then Digits 1024 is
Radio.
the place to be. It's why I was bold and confident enough to bring such a content here. You know, Nelson Mandela said something. He said, "I dream of Africa, which is in peace with itself."
Well, yes. And, well, not to be pessimistic right now, I dare to say that I'm not so sure that dream has been fulfilled, because you still see a lot of chaos happening in Africa. But like we said, we're not bemoaning the present. We want to change the future. So yes, indeed, it is possible to have an African that is at peace with itself, where a Ghanaian will see a Nigeria, and we are doing stuff together. We're building stuff. We're inventing things. We don't see the next person as a threat to us. Instead, we're collaborating to, do great things for our continent. That is the African that Nelson Mandela were probably talking about.
Yes, I really appreciate what you have just said. And you know what comes to mind is the fact that this is the first of this show, right? It's the premiere, and it's like a first step. But what we have just highlighted, or what we have been talking about, are ideas we're going to string together as time goes on every other Wednesday. For instance, you just spoke about a Nigerian child or a Nigerian who is at peace with a Ghanaian. And we're saying that if you teach your child to embrace other cultures, if you teach your child, not to segregate, that is something you are imbibing into him, such that when he goes into school, he's not playing the tribalistic card. What he's thinking about is cohabiting. What he's thinking about is partnership, which is what is happening right here with Chisom and I.
Of course. Cheers to partnership. And of course, I think I should add that while we're raising children that recognize other people's culture, it's also important to make sure that we instill our own culture, we instill our own values into our children, because they are going to mingle with a whole lot of other children. It's not every Afri mom that is going to be intentional about raising their children. But you have to bring up your children in such a way that they accept others for who they are, but they don't lose themselves while doing that. They don't lose their values while doing that. You don't accommodate other people's values at the expense of yours. So that is why it's important to stamp an identity on your child, an identity that would now form the path that the child follows throughout life. So yes, we're raising children who are not tribalistic. We're raising children who understand that, the next person might be very different from me. We're raising children who are empathetic to others, but at the same time, we're raising children who are confident in and of themselves, and they know what values that they stand for.
Thank you very much, Chisom. I find very comforting the fact that right now, I have the opportunity to make a mark in the future that I might not be a part of. For instance, I did the quick math. While I was calculating the year 2050 and my child's age, I also dared to look at the year 2100. I don't think I'll be there. But imagine what it is like when you have already sent yourself
ahead of the future.
Exactly. And perhaps not even yourself, but a better version. The virtues you appreciate, the things that you hold on to, the things that are of value. So I'm thinking right now, and I'm wondering what my son, for instance, is very musical. He's also very empathetic. So I'm imagining the kinds of things he would do in the near future when leadership is thrust on him. So, yes, I am a woman, And you might call me the weaker sex, which is true. I believe the Holy Book and what it says. But there is that connection I have right now with my son and the influence that I have on him. So when I'm interfacing with him, it's with a clear mind. I am clear-minded. I am deliberate. I think the word is deliberate.
Yeah, intentionality.
I think the word, yes, deliberate, intentional. So it's not just about, going into the hospital and pushing out a baby safely and then going on social media, I'm now a mom. It's really more than that. It's that now I also have a chance. What chance do I have? A chance to make a mark in the future, to alter and to change something. So the narrative in Africa is sad to me. It's sad because somebody has to look at my passport twice just because I'm African. And, he's looking at my black skin and wondering, are they as black? Is their heart as black as their skin? No, it's not. But right now, I can change that narrative for the future by the children that I have in my house.
Well, yeah. And, interestingly, there's something, I don't know if it's an African thing or it's a global thing. There's always this fallback to motherhood when something goes with a child, when a child is probably doing something, you say, this one, his mother did not train him, his father did not train. No, you rarely hear his father did not train him. Maybe it's when something wonderful has happened, you hear, that's the son of his father. But most times it's usually, this one, the mother did not train him and all that. So that goes to show that a lot of demands are placed on the woman. So as much as, yes, on the A.R.A.L show, we're not saying that it's total responsibility of the woman to raise the child. We acknowledge the roles of fathers in bringing up a child. Do you understand? So we're not neglecting the fact that fathers have a very important role. But because of, I don't know if it's the way we found the African society, you tend to see that mothers spend more time with their children than the fathers. So I guess maybe that's why that fallback comes to, because daddy is always there trying to conquer the world, trying to, make sure that everybody in the family is okay and all that. But then it now shows that you now have to be deliberate. You have to be deliberate because, and luckily for us, our children are young, and I'm happy that this awareness is coming at a time like this because they are still in sort of their formative age. Because they get to an age where it is, opinions are formed, perceptions are formed. It's hard to to now impute those values into the. That's not to say that if you have grown-up children and probably for some reason they are not on the path they should be, it doesn't mean that all hope is lost.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's just that it's easier. Do you understand? It's easier. It's just like when you have a scar, for example. It's easier to treat it when it's fresh than when it has started drying up, trying to open it up again and all that. Will it finally work? Yes, but it will, of course, take more effort, more strength and all
pain.
that. So that's why we're saying, young moms like us, we are on a journey, we are on a mission, and the earlier we arise to the consciousness of this, that this is not just a ministry, this is not just a position, it's a ministry, it's a gift that has been given to us, and we have the power to make it work if we decide to take the right steps.
Thank you so much. Chisom, there's something you said I want to highlight, and I appreciate it very deeply. It's that we're not here to call ourselves super women, raising children all by ourselves. In fact, we advocate for proper homes. We advocate for balanced homes. We advocate for partnership with our husbands. We advocate for commitment to our marriages. Why? Because we want to raise a young man who is going to be a husband in future and a faithful one at that, raising children, and is at leadership positions. He's in governance. He's a lawyer. He's a president. He's the governor. Yet he's not cheating. Yet he's committed to his children. So where does it start from? It starts from what we mirror, how much we're going to take. So rather than speak back at my husband in spite, I am going to take things calm. I'm going to engage patience. I'm going to engage long suffering. Why? Because there's a future I'm seeing. So this is, if you notice what we have been doing today is touchlighting a number of things we'll be doing as time goes on. It's the premiere. So we want you to have an idea of what this call is about. It's a wake-up call to young women. Everybody wants to get married right now and trend with their wedding videos. That's awesome. And we are proud of you and we congratulate you. Everyone wants to have the baby bump. Do the photo shoots. Exactly. We all want to do the baby shower. We all want to do mini me, my baby and I. We all want to wear the same thing with our babies. awesome. But we are saying that there's now a goal. We need to, have our eyes, yes, we need a focused view right now to say that what you have is golden in the sense that this Africa that you're often troubled about. Oh, Nigeria is not working, or what's happening in Kenya, or why is Uganda going on down? What happening in South Africa? We're saying that you have something to do about it, and what you have to do about it are those two children in your home. What you're going to do, because that child is going to go to class, and in fact that's where it starts from. Your child is going to engender some change right there in class, and as he goes through education, he's going to engender change till he gets to leadership. So what's this quote about training a mother and training the society? How true is that?
Well, of course, I believe in that. Call me pro woman. But of course, when you train a woman, especially in the African culture, where even as you're training in fact, it's as if there's this consciousness in Africa, where once you're training a girl child, you're automatically envisioning her family. You're automatically envisioning her as a wife, as a mother. So that training goes far. As a girl child growing up, I can't count the number of times my mom told me, is this what you're going to do in your husband's house? Is this what you're going to do is this how you're going to raise your own children? But you find out that it's rarely like that with men. But I thank God that a lot of things are beginning to change, but it can be better. And that's why I'm intentional about raising my boys. Because in my own case, I've told myself, you don't have any girl child that is coming for now. Right. Okay, yes. I don't have any girl child. So these are my but they will be husbands to a wife someday. They will be fathers to their children someday. So what exactly am I? So yes, the narrative is gradually shifting, but of course it's still because a mother is like, how do I put this? She's more like the bedrock of the home. She's like the I don't want to say pillar, because that would be like trying to undermine. Do you understand? But what I mean is that when you train a mother, of course, like we have already agreed, because of the nature of or the structure of the home, the man is more of the go out and conquer kind of person. So the mother trains the children more, of course, in partnership with the husband. So once you're training a mother, whatever you give to that mother, she's replicating in her children.
True.
She's replicating, because you can't give what you don't have. True. So it's what you as a mother have, that's what you now pour out to your children. So that's why when you're training a mother, you're training the children that will come from her womb. You're training a lot of things that will come from her womb. So, but we're only saying that as we're doing that for the girl child, we also consider the boy child and understand that the boy child are also the future of Africa, just like the girl child.
Chisholm, this thing you have just said, I really appreciate this particular point, because, I also am raising boys. And it has come to my mind. In fact, someone said it to me recently that, we are very particular about raising a well-rounded girl child, because she's going to be a wife, she's going to be a mother. How about the husband? The person who's going to be the husband and is going to be the father. So we're talking about sons. So I think one of these days we'll actually narrow down on that. How we as mothers can deliberately...
And thankfully, International Day of the Boy Child is coming.
Woo! We couldn't be any happier. We're going to talk about that and really how young mothers like us, a number of us, if you look around your friends right now, we are children about the same age. So, approximately age 10 downwards. So we're saying that how are we going to raise our sons to respect the girls? So, for instance, I saw a child somewhere pull a girl's hair. I'm like, darling, you don't do that. It's tiny. He's playing, but he needs to understand that it hurts her to pull her hair. So don't do that to her. So as time goes on, we have to create this understanding, to our sons.
Okay, that's very correct. And another thing is, one thing we don't realize is that the choice of a partner can make or mar a person. So you're training a well-rounded girl child that is all that, but then she now goes to choose a boy child that wasn't raised. You have automatically, thwarted the destiny of that girl without knowing, because that is the boy child mother, because you didn't raise that child. And that we can't even begin, because this is a different topic entirely. We can't even begin to talk about the impact of a partner on a person's future and how far a person can go. So if we're not careful about both gender, we find out that that's the reason why we have a lot of issues in the African society. That's why we don't have a well-rounded family. That's why we don't have a family unit that is not dysfunctional, that is functioning as it ought to. So yes, as we are raising children, we're not, this time around, we're not saying it's the girl child. We're raising children, boy child, girl child, each of them have a stake in the future. And each of them have a role to play in getting Africa to where it's supposed to be.
Chisom, I don't know if I can express the joy that I feel. I feel particularly privileged right now to be a mother.
Yeah.
Because it's clear before my eyes that I have a privilege, I have an opportunity to do something that would change the narrative ahead of me. Yes, the future ahead of me. So like you have said, whether it's me who has sons or my friend who has daughters, when we meet from time to time and converse and talk about this, and you know what knowledge does, right?
Yeah.
Every knowledge forms and frames one.
Of course.
Every knowledge, and we choose the kind of knowledge we expose ourselves to. So each time you tune into the A.R.A.L show on Digits 1024, you're exposing yourself to knowledge. You're just seeing like friends chatting, talking about raising children, and you don't know how it's framing you. You become more conscious to raise your child as a leader. Not just, I'm busy. And you know how this thing happens. How here in Africa, our community and the hustle.
The hustle
can be such a tough one that you find out that, yes, we say we love our children. Yes, we say we are raising them, but we really are not. You know why? Because sometimes we're so busy chasing cash, because we want to augment for our husbands, that in the process, we are leaving our children to school. So sometimes they close from school and then we pay for after hour. And then after the after hour finishes, and then you just tell the teacher, please just wait a little more. So in the end, your child comes home at night and goes home in the morning. And then on Sunday or Saturday, you perhaps leave him off with some relative because you have to catch up with extra work so that you can get some extra cash, and then on Sunday it just like that, a vicious circle. So it's scary because if we don't draw ourselves back, it's very easy to let their growing slip. And Chisom, did you notice that from the moment they came out, for instance, I remember telling Elizabeth, I told you about our mutual friend at the beginning, that we have a mutual friend who's Elizabeth, and she's now a mama. And I remember I was telling her, by the way, her baby's played her a strong one. So her baby was to come out, and then
I decided to come
on
a leap year.
On a leap year. So I told her, enjoy. You'll be buying cake once in 4 years. So I told her that, the good part is that once this baby comes out, you're going to feel some emptiness. Once, I don't know how it happens. Once they pop out, the first thing I used to say is, the 2 times I'm like, I'm hungry because everything just comes out. And then you're like, see the tiny person that was in my belly. So what I'm saying is that once they come out, they are so tiny, and then you begin to have dreams. My son is going to swim. My son is going to learn how to drive at 10. My son is going to do this and do that. And before you know it, time has gone. And then the child is 5. You're like, how did this happen? So if we're not deliberate, so the crux of this show is pinching ourselves, calling ourselves back, reminding ourselves that we have now to make this thing happen, and we have each other. Exactly. So we are young. You can call us friends. Consider us your friends. I mean, we're on the journey together. There are times when we beg them to leave us that we just want to rest. Like, anywhere you go, mommy. I'm like, can I rest? In fact, my son asked me yesterday, Mommy, why did you behave like that? Because he was chasing me everywhere. They are on midterm. And so I wanted to just slip away for a bit, and then he was following me. I was like, please, can you stay? Mommy, why did you behave like that? I'm like, you don't get it, brother. You don't get it. I wanted to rest. But that consciousness, so that after you're tired, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're tired. The evening you are tired. When you're waking up the next morning, wake up with that zest. There's a purpose, eyes on the goal. And what's the goal? We are raising these children to be the future leaders of Africa. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about quite a lot, and very shortly we're going to go on a break. But before then, I wanted to talk about just like what you said about communicating with our children. For me, most times I'm repenting. I'm a yelling mom, but I'm repenting.
Should we talk about this? Should we talk about yelling?
I'm repenting.
At what volume would your voice be that it is yelling? We have to measure it.
For someone like me, it's hard to tell because I have natural megaphone in my voice. So imagine when I'm angry, the amplification. Then, something happened this morning with my son. And for my first son, for example, he's very touchy. And once you yell like that, he just recoils. You just see him, he will just go to one corner and all that. So, it's very easy. I was looking at him with the corner of my eyes. In my mind, I was like, at least you're quiet for a while.
Meanwhile, you were trying to say sorry in your mind. But you're like, if I say the sorry now, he will
start
not come back
jumping
and continue. Oh.
You understand? So it's quite a dicey one. But like we said, the journey is not like, it's easy to just talk about it, but it's not going to be a very easy one. It's not going to be a very smooth journey. But the good thing is that A.R.A.L show is beyond a show. We're trying to build a community of mothers who understand that this is the mission, this is a journey. And the way you map out a journey, you don't just set out. You have to know, this is where I'm going to. This is the route I am going to take together. So it's not just about having a show on YouTube, gathering the followers, gathering the subscribers, the likes, the comments. No. For us, it's beyond that. It's the intentionality that, okay, this is what I have been called to do for such a time as this, and I have to take it up seriously. So it's not going to be easy. I've had days when I ask myself, who even sent me to go and give birth like this? Do you understand? So it's always like, it's not easy. But what makes it easy is when we have a community of mothers like this, everybody sharing their struggles, everybody sharing their triumphs, everybody sharing. I could have an issue, and maybe from the comment section, someone just drops something, and that could be the solution to the issue I've been facing. So it's not just about I and Zoe talking. It's not just Zoe coming to tell you. Of course, we are young mothers. We don't even know so much about it. We've not even gotten to the stage of mothering things and all those stuff. Do you understand? So, but we are sure that there are so many experienced mothers out there that will be watching us that probably have a lot of experience that we can glean from, that will also help us in bringing up our own children. We would like to hear from you. You can send us a message. You can drop a comment. Just let us know. Tell us, how has the journey been for you so far, raising an African child? Yes, the African child is the pride of Africa, and we understand that. So let us know in the comment section, what has the journey been like? What are your triumphs? What are what are the struggles you face? Or possibly anything you want us to talk about on the A.R.A.L show. We would like to hear from you.
Thank you so much. There's this African proverb: a wrong step by a leader is a warning to the followers. A wrong step by a leader is a warning to the followers. Sometimes I try to go back in time when I hear certain